The question for the panel: how do you categorize this performance by Shohei Ohtani? So I've got Splish Splash, Android, and Kawaii. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to go and hit a moonshot is what we're going to do, because one of those home runs Ohtani hit, that was an absolute moonshot. That I think was the last one. Woo-wee! All right, so now first of all, to say that this is like the greatest of all time and the most important night in baseball, don't be a prisoner of the moment, okay? The fact is, it was a wonderful performance. There's some fine print we'll get to in a minute, but the fact that about 90% of the Dodger fan base in Los Angeles was either at work or stuck in gridlock traffic. It was good for the flagship radio station, which we happen to be on, AM 570 in L.A., the home of the show, the Dodger flagship, because you had to be listening to that on the radio. Probably didn't watch it on TV because you were stuck in traffic. But Storybook has been mentioned, greatest individual performance. I swear I remember years ago a player named Mark Whitten, hard-hitting Mark Whitten, hitting 4 home runs and having 12 RBIs in the game for the St. Louis Cardinals. But I digress. But listen, this was monster mashing, and I'm not here to belittle Ohtani. This was a member of the Ohio State band, the Ohio State marching band, dotting the I. The sousaphone player, I believe, is the sousaphone, dotting the I. This was a big splish splash, razzmatazz, all that. Right? This is putting an exclamation point on your season and winning an MVP award as a designated hitter. If it was ever a race, which it really wasn't, it's over now, even though all Ohtani does is pinch hit. He doesn't pitch. He doesn't play the field. All he does is hit, and he does very well at that. So he brought the boogie woogie. Now, in terms of the big picture, this is an unpopular opinion. I like the Dodgers. I want to see the Dodgers win the World Series. Every year I want to see them win the World Series. But my opinion of Ohtani, when you get $700 million, I know most of it's deferred because of California's lunatic politics and taxation, but $700 million, these are the kind of things that you're supposed to do, right? These are the kind of things you're supposed to do. You get paid a premium, and you get paid that money because the Dodgers were betting on the fact, Ohtani's interpreter knows a thing or two about betting, but you pay a premium because you got a guy that has a cheat code, and he has it, right? Whatever it is, he has it. And so he's meeting expectations. Obviously going a little above expectations because no one's ever done this. There's some panache to it. And now you got to bring home the bacon in the playoffs. And you got to find the treasure map. Now, the fine print part of this, you're not supposed to say this part out loud, but I can't help myself. That's why I'm doing overnights and I'm not part of the mainstream, is the final blow for Ohtani came against a second baseman that just threw it right down the middle. Right, that's a batting practice. Here you go. Let's see how far you can hit it. So you do have to factor that in a little bit, right? Now, I wasn't around for some of these other amazing performances. Maybe the same thing happened. Maybe Babe Ruth back in the day, pitchers on the other team grooved it. Some Red Sox guy grooved it when Ruth was on the Yankees. I don't know. All I know is what I saw, and what I saw was Ohtani hit a ball to the moon. I think that went down to Cuba from Miami from the bat of Ohtani, and I believe that was off a 224 hitting second baseman. All right, now secondly, the other thought I had was why so many baseball people, and these are people that I know, some of them I worked with back in the day, who are absolutely obsessed with the Ohtani 50-50. Obsessed with it, right? This is like the biggest thing. They got their pants off. They're so excited. And my answer to that is evolutionary. That's my answer, right? And human beings, we all have this in common. We love round numbers. And I've determined as I've gotten older in life that our brains are kind of like Android phones, that we don't realize this, but when you're born, when you arrive in the world, you're preloaded with a few different sets of apps. And one of the apps that we all have is our minds are hardwired to prefer round numbers, those nice, sweet, round numbers, over irregular numbers, even when the irregular option means a better deal overall. It's very bizarre, but it's true. And there's some mind hacks that I don't need to get into it here because, you're probably bored out of your mind. But things I've learned from the advertising world, what they'll do, certain price points that they have that they know people will buy. Even if it was more expensive, it would people would think it's a better deal based on how many cents are in the total. But in terms of this conversation with Ohtani, for reference, 50 home runs is a much sexier, it is a more satisfying number than 51 home runs, which he currently has. Round numbers just make you tingle. Round numbers make you tingle. In sports, they do. It's a bizarro quirk. And the people that study this, that I guess you call them nerds, but from what I've read over the years, it's because we have 10 fingers and 10 toes, unless you're a former Marlins pitcher named Antonio Alfonseca, who had 6 fingers and 6 toes on each hand. So I guess he had 12 and 12. That's still a round number. Anyway, all right, final thought. In clinching the playoff berth, let's get to the big picture for the Dodgers. In clinching the playoff berth, the Dodgers had a double toast. Now, they first toasted Shohei Ohtani. Then Dave Roberts gave a speech in the clubhouse. And rather than me give you the correspondence of Dave Roberts' speech, let me give you about a minute block here. Here is Dave Roberts. He's holding champagne. I believe that was champagne there in the Dodger clubhouse, the visiting clubhouse there in Miami. And here's Dave Roberts addressing his team as they get back into October baseball.
So tonight, I think you guys all know we clinched a postseason berth. And for those of you guys who have never been to the postseason, there's nothing like it. This is what we all play for, to get an opportunity to play for that trophy. And I just want to say this, guys. This is the first step. We all know that. The talent is our floor. The talent in this room is the floor. The character and the fight is the ceiling for all of us. So, guys, we got to count on each other to fight and show the character that we all believe we have, and we know who we are, to play that last game and win that last game in October. So, cheers to you guys. Congratulations, fellas. Everybody, congrats, guys.
All right, so the crowd goes wild and all that. Dave, it sounded a little bit like Jordan. Remember Michael Jordan? But he said the ceiling is the roof. That famous line from Jordan back in the day. So let's discuss the post-game speech there from Dave Roberts, his decree in the Dodger playoff clinching win. How do you dissect that? So I would say it was measured and appropriate. I love taking shots at Dave Roberts. I do. It's fun. Really liked him in that spot. But this is what you have to do, right? You can't get all worked up, right? You can't be the Milwaukee Brewers. You're the Dodgers. There's no joy in Mudville. The Dodgers are in a different class. They spend more money than anybody. They've got better resources than anybody. They shred more arms than anybody in their pitching staff. They're not judged by simply making the playoffs. And every man, woman, and child knows this. It's like the famous oasis in Kauai, Tunnels Beach. You have to have tunnel vision and buckle up. And the couple of things Robert said there that stood out to me. They don't give out trophies in September and all that, but Roberts mentioned the character, which is, to me, it's code for guts and guile and machismo. And so does that mean the recent Dodger teams have lacked guts? Is that what he's saying? Because to win in October, it sounded to me, and I'm just going by what he said, that you got to count on each other. You got to show character. Right? That was the word he used. You got to believe in each other. And so that goes back to, synonyms for the word character would be, like I said, machismo, guts, all that stuff. And prepare, buckle up, buckaroo, because you're going to be scrutinized, despised, politicized, dramatized, chastised, analyzed, moralized, stigmatized, sensationalized, and criticized. It's going to happen, especially if you screw up. The roller coaster ride is open for business coming up in